All right, so Marco says I have 2 minutes. Oh, I think I figured out the sound issue. All right, so the sixth program is home loans for teachers at the local level. In California, teachers working in an underperforming, the sixth program is home loans for teachers at the local level. In California, teachers working in underperforming schools, the Extra Credit Home Purchase Program can provide mortgage tax credits to reduce taxes owed to the federal government. So this is for teachers that are working in an underperforming school, and this is a program called the Extra Credit Home Purchase Program, which can provide mortgage tax credits for to reduce taxes owed to the federal government. Participants have to be one, first-time home buyers, must meet certain income limits, meet home price limits which vary by county. The website to access this program is the following: treasurer.ca.gov/CDLAC/applications. I know that's a mouthful, but if you contact me at info@realestateconnectionradio.com, I can provide you with all of these website addresses. I have them all written down in my notes, and I'd be happy to share them with you. Again, email me directly at info@realestateconnectionradio.com. So we're coming up on a hard break. When we get back, we'll jump into what the seventh program is, and then we'll also jump into some local programs here in Silicon Valley that can also help first-time home buyers that aren't necessarily teachers or first responders, but everybody who qualifies. So we'll see you at the other side of the break. I'll be back in a minute. All right, so everybody who's watching me on Facebook right now, let me know if you can now have sound. I think I solved the problem because I just didn't. It's a new program. Okay, it's a new program. I'm learning. I have a tendency to jump in with both feet and then learn as I go. And I was really anxious to get this thing rocking and rolling. And unfortunately, since I have only had sound through half of it, I won't be able to use it to broadcast out to share on YouTube. But I do apologize. I think the sound is working now. I should have played with this more at home before I got started. And I'm a little bit concerned that I don't have as much material as I thought I did to fill up the radio show. But I've got some backup material in regards to legislation that's going down in the state of California and the city of San Jose. So stay tuned. All right, Marco, you want to spin me back up? How many long segments do I have left, by the way? Two more long segments. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to dig into my bag of tricks. But here we go. We're going to spin it back up and see how it goes. Welcome back, everybody, to the show. Welcome back. Thank you for sticking with me this morning on the Real Estate Connection on KFAX 1100 out of San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, and my South County friends in Morgan Hill, San Martin, and Gilroy. If you cannot get it very clear down here in the South County, go ahead and log in through iHeartRadio, and you can just stream it live as long as you've got a good internet connection or unlimited data. All right, so we're going to jump back into the show. We've been talking about home loan programs for teachers out of an article from Realtor.com. And I've been going through the different programs. We've covered a few, some that are specific for teachers, some that include military personnel. One that was actually for vets and military, which was Homes for Heroes, but they also extend out for teachers. And then the seventh program that we're getting ready to jump into, which is going to segue us into to local programs here in Silicon Valley, are teacher-specific housing programs. So what the article goes on to say is that some parts of the country have housing built specifically for teachers or set aside specifically for educators. You need to check with the district that you work in and your union representative to see if any are available in your area. So what they basically do is they set aside housing within developments that are currently being built specifically for educators, or they may build an entire development for educators, so that they have a better opportunity to buy housing in the areas that they're teaching in. And again, thank you to all the educators out there who serve our public, who educate our children and go to work every day to make the United States a better place, and to send the next wave generation of workers and leaders out there. So this segues me into a local program that's here in Silicon Valley that assists first-time homebuyers with down payment assistance, and also assists with borrowing money and not having to pay it back in a loan, but only when you sell the house. So this program is called the Housing Trust of Silicon Valley. So what is the Housing Trust of Silicon Valley? What I'm going to read to you now is just information that I found on their website of what they say about themselves. So, led by the County of Santa Clara and the Silicon Valley Leadership Group, affordable housing activists, local businesses, and foundations joined together to create a nonprofit housing trust. Since 2000, Housing Trust Silicon Valley has always been unique as a place where public and private resources could come together in creative ways to support housing solutions addressing needs including home ownership, rental housing, and homelessness prevention. So this is a really good cause, and if you're looking for a place to donate money as far as helping people and prevent homelessness, I fully endorse the Housing Trust of Silicon Valley. The money is being used on the ground to actually help people who need it. So the first program that the Housing Trust offers for down payment assistance is called the first program, Empower Homebuyers SCC, okay? Empower Homebuyers SCC. This is how it works, and I'm going to read directly from the website. Empower Homebuyers is a loan for first-time homebuyers to help them with the down payment. The loan can be for up to 17% of a home's purchase price, which means an additional 3% from a first-time homebuyer would reach a down payment of 20%. So this is really important for people who are looking to get conventional loans and avoid PMI. So no matter the amount borrowed, there are no monthly payments or interest with an Empower Homebuyers loan. This is very important because you're not borrowing money and then adding to what you're paying back every month in your mortgage. This is a loan that you hold, that you pay off as a balloon payment later on, but you're not making monthly payments on the money that's being borrowed from the Housing Trust of Silicon Valley. So, and there's no interest. That's another beautiful thing. All lenders out there are out there to serve, and as they serve and letting you borrow money and them taking a risk on letting you have that money up front, you're paying it back with interest. You're paying a fee in order to use the money that does not belong to you. Well, the Housing Trust of Silicon Valley is not going to charge you interest while you hold this loan out. They do get repaid, but it's out of the proceeds of the sale, and we'll get into that. Okay, so instead, no matter the amount borrowed, there are no monthly payments or interest with the Empower Homebuyers loan. Instead, when the loan matures, you decide to sell or you refinance your mortgage. You repay the original amount of your loan plus a share of the appreciation of your home. So when the loan matures, you refinance your house, you pull out some equity, you pay them back, or when you go to sell the house, you pay them back, and then you pay them an additional service fee based on the equity you've earned in the property. So you will share your appreciation or equity in equal proportion to the amount you borrowed. This means if your loan was 17% of the purchase price, you will share 17% of the appreciation, and the rest of the equity that builds up on your home over time is yours. So for instance, if you buy a home for $600,000 and you use Empower to borrow 17% or $102,000 for the down payment, and the home is later sold for $800,000, so the difference between $600,000 and $800,000 is $200,000 in appreciation or $200,000 in equity, you would owe the original 17% of $102,000 plus 17% of the $200,000 appreciation. So you would take that 17%, multiply it times 200,000, that would give you 34,000. So then you would take your 102,000 plus the 34,000 would give you 136,000 that you would repay back to the housing trust. The housing trust then takes that money, I'm sure, and puts it back into servicing other people. So this is a great benefit. It's not going to increase your monthly payment on your home. You're going to pay it back, but you'll pay it back after your home appreciates, and then you'll give it back on a refinance or on the sale. So it's only fair that they get their money back and that they also get a little bit more for the lending, but it doesn't affect your payments while you're holding the loan. So what are the qualifications for this program? The very first one, which is called Empower Home Buyers SCC. I misspoke earlier and called it the first program, but it's really called Empower Home Buyers SCC. What are the qualifications? There are 7 of them. 1, you are a first-time home buyer buying a primary residence in Santa Clara County. Okay, so you must be buying in Santa Clara County. You must be owner occupied, which means when you buy the house, it can't be for a rental. You have to buy it and live in it. Okay, it has to be your primary residence. You have pre-approval from an approved lender done prior to submitting the application. So if you're out here listening to this right now and you're already pre-approved for a loan, that's good. You can then go to this program and then apply. They will only look at applicants who have been pre-approved. So Marco says I have 30 seconds. We're going to wrap this segment, and when we come back, we're going to finish up the qualifications for the Empower Home Buyers SCC program, and then we're going to jump into what the second program is that the Silicon Valley Housing Trust has available to people for down payment assistance. So thank you for staying with me through technical difficulties and me being distracted, and we will see you on the other side of the break. All right, I finally got my sound working. And I just realized that I can't respond to comments on here, but that's okay. There's some trade-offs in being able to do multiple things all at one time. And learning how to use your built-in microphone, absolutely amazing technology today. This 80s kid who's grown up on technology still can't figure it out. I'm not afraid to jump in and try. So Marco says, what we got? One more long segment? One more long segment. So I am going to be able to plow through this Silicon Valley Housing Trust issue. And then we're going to jump into Measure E. And then we're going to jump into the split roll that's trying to be forced down upon our throats by Attorney General Xavier Becerra. Very interesting what's going on in our state. And then we have a ballot. We have a ballot coming out on March 3rd. So register to vote. Make sure you're registered. And then I have some information on voting too. And the shenanigans that Santa Clara County is trying to pull that we just need to be aware of. Okay, so wow, I just took up 5 minutes So that's good. We have one more long segment, you said? All right, let's go. Let's rock and roll. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to our last long segment before we wrap it up. I want to thank you again for joining me as we've been going through home loan assistance programs, down payment assistance, rebates on closing costs, being able to purchase HUD-owned properties at a 50% haircut, teachers being able to get grants to pay for closing costs through other programs that I mentioned on the show earlier as well. A $1,000 grant that you do not have to pay back. $1,000 is $1,000. You can apply it to your closing costs because they're unavoidable. So take advantage of it. And again, if you have any questions about the websites that I've mentioned on today's show, contact me at info@realestateconnectionradio.com. Again, that's info@realestateconnectionradio.com. So we're going to go back into the Housing Trust of Silicon Valley and their first program, which is their Empower Homebuyers SCC program, which provides up to 17% of the purchase price of a home to help with your down payment. And that 17% is only due when the loan comes due, and you would pay it back plus a proportion of the appreciation that you received for the property. So the example that we went through was if you were purchasing a $600,000 house through the Empower program, you could borrow 17% of the purchase price, or $102,000. Then when the loan came due, or you were getting ready to sell the property and it was being sold for $800,000, you would owe the $102,000 that you borrowed, or 17% of $600,000, plus a proportionate amount of the appreciation you earned. So if you bought it for $600,000 and sold it for $800,000, you would have a $200,000 appreciation. You take the 17% times the $200K, which would give you $34,000. Then you would take the $102,000 plus the 34 would give you 136, which you'd pay back to the Housing Trust of Silicon Valley. So then we were rolling through the qualifications for this program. One, you are a first-time home buyer buying a primary residence in Santa Clara County. First-time home buyers only in Santa Clara County. You must owner-occupy the home, which means it has to be your primary residence. You can't rent it out. You have to live in it. You have to be pre-approved from an approved lender, which is done prior to submitting your application. So you have to go to the program and find out what approved lenders are there out there. I messed up on the last segment. I just said you had to be pre-approved. But apparently you have to be pre-approved by a lender that the program has approved themselves. And then you have completed a HUD certified 8-hour home buyer education class through a designated agency. And this is just for your own benefit. You know, oftentimes first-time home buyers have never owned a home, and so this 8-hour program gives you the ins and outs of what it's like to be a homeowner and what you have to look out for as a homeowner, not only in the buying process but lending. And so it's a good overview. It's kind of like having to pass a test before you can drive on the road. It's for your safety and for the safety of others, right? So you're going to have to go ahead and complete that 8-hour class, and then you can put down a minimum of 3% on the home's purchase price. So out of what you are actually putting down, your minimum input on purchasing a home is 3%. You can borrow the other 17% from this program, and that would give you a total of 20% down. However, your minimum skin in the game has to be 3%. Okay, here's the last caveat. The gross household income, including all adult household members, must not exceed 120% of the area median income. Now they recalculate what the area median income is every year. And if you're interested in finding out what those numbers are, you can go to the Housing Trust of Silicon Valley's website, and they have them published. I believe on the website they still have the numbers up from 2019, but they don't have them up yet for 2020 as far as when I was spinning around on the site yesterday preparing for the show and looking at the numbers. So you probably will want to give them a call, but you're going to have to do that anyway in order to get involved in the program, and they're going to put you through the qualification test to see if you meet those standards. So that is something that you can also look into yourself. All right, so let's jump into what the second program is, and this one called the Empowerment Loan Program. I'm sorry, the Home Buyer Empowerment Loan Program. The acronym for this is HELP, because we all need a little help sometimes, right? Help! I need somebody. Help! Right? Old Beatles tune. I know I'm dating myself. I know, right? Behave myself. So it's called Home Buyer Empowerment Loan Program, or HELP. So this is how this program works, and I'm going to read the content directly from the site as I have it printed. HELP assists first-time homebuyers with incomes slightly higher than the Empower Homebuyers SCC and other down payment assistance programs by allowing middle-income first-time homebuyers to borrow up to 10% of a home's purchase price, which means an additional 10% from a first-time homebuyer would reach a down payment of 20%, right? Because you're all trying to get to that 20% number to avoid PMI, all right? So, okay, no matter the amount borrowed, there are no monthly payments similar to the first program or interest with a HELP loan. Instead, when the loan matures, you decide to sell or refinance your mortgage, you repay the original amount of your loan plus a share of the appreciation of your home. Sound familiar? You will share your appreciation in equal proportion to the amount you borrowed. This means if your loan was 10% of the purchase price, you will share 10% of the appreciation, and the rest of the equity that builds up on your home over time is yours. So this is the example they give. If you buy a house for $600,000 and you use HELP to borrow 10% or $60,000 for the down payment, and the home is later sold for $800,000, you would then calculate what you owe back as follows. You'd have the original $60,000 you borrowed plus 10% of the appreciation, which would be between $600,000 and $800,000, $200,000. So 10% of $200,000 would give you $20,000. So then you would pay back $80,000. So this is another good program, and the numbers are not small. We live in a high cost of living area, so this program is very beneficial for people out there who haven't had the ability to save a lot of money. A lot of millennials or people who've graduated from college with a lot of student loan debt, who are already paying off a mortgage from their education, who are just trying to get by in the valley and pay bills and taxes, may not have the ability to save as quickly and still want to get into the market. This affords you to take a leapfrog forward in order to get into the house. And the money and the amount of the money that you're borrowing is not small. They are not small dollar amounts. And the fact that you do not have to pay this back as part of your monthly payment is very helpful as well, as far as you being able to qualify to buy maybe a bigger house. Okay, so what are the qualifications for this loan? You are, one, a first-time home buyer buying a primary residence in Santa Clara County or the cities of Menlo Park or East Palo Alto. Okay, so it is expanded. It's not just Santa Clara County. You must own or occupy the home, which means you can't buy it and rent it out. You have to live in it. You have to be pre-approved from an approved lender, done prior to submitting the application. You have completed a HUD-certified 8-hour home buyer education class through the designated agency. And then you can put down a minimum of 3% of a home's purchase price. The gross household income, including all adult household members, must not exceed 120% of the area median income. And again, as I said before, you can go on the Housing Trust of Silicon Valley's website and get this information as far as what that dollar amount translates to in 2020 numbers to see if you qualify. So that's it for the Housing Trust of Silicon Valley. And Marco says I have 30 seconds. So when we get back from the break, I'm going to jump into a couple of legislative matters that I need to make you aware of, things that are going to be voted for in the state of California on March 3rd, and then how to go about voting and getting registered to vote to cover that. So I hope you're enjoying what's being covered today, and I'll see you when I get back from the other side of the break. All right. So we got 5 minutes. So I'm going to get into my diatribe on what's going on in San Jose and the state of California when it comes to new taxes that they're asking you to impose on yourself. So, since I don't have to use notes for that, let's just get started. 5 minutes is going to go by fast. All right, Marco, I'm ready. Thank you, sir. He's so good. He's so good. Hey everybody, welcome back to today's show. Thank you so much for joining me on the Real Estate Connection here on KFAX 1100 out of San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, Morgan Hill, San Martin, and Gilroy for my South County folks. And don't forget, you can catch us live streaming on iHeartRadio.com. All right, thank you for joining me today on the show as we covered down payment assistance programs for teachers, firefighters, first responders, and first-time home buyers in Santa Clara County, and also the cities of Menlo Park and East Palo Alto from the Housing Trust of Silicon Valley. As we wrap up today's show, I wanted to bring a couple of things to your attention. I wanted to raise the issue of Measure E, which is coming to the ballot in San Jose. This is San Jose, the city of San Jose and the mayor of San Jose asking you to vote to increase taxes on yourself. City of San Jose already has a transfer tax on the sale of all real property within the city limits. That includes commercial property and residential property. So if you sell a home or buy a home in the city of San Jose, you have to pay a transfer tax on the dollar amount spent on that home. The city of San Jose in Measure E, again, Measure E, they never call it tax increase ballot measure. They call it some innocuous thing that you can't really relate to. So I'm telling you, Measure E equals extreme pain. E for extreme pain on yourself. Raising taxes on the transfer of real property in the city of San Jose for residential and commercial. Now, they said they threw us a bone by increasing the dollar amount on where this tax is going to go to all houses priced at $2 million or higher. However, they're just pitting us against each other, the rich against the poor. So, if you've worked very, very hard in your life and you've earned a few dollars and you were able to invest some money wisely in the city, and you might have a couple of duplexes here and there, this is affecting you. If you get ready to, retire and take your money out of these investment properties, and easily duplexes in the city are at $2 million or higher, or fourplexes or triplexes, or if you just done well for yourself and you have a nice house, the city is asking you to vote to raise tax on yourself. And then after they go after the rich, who's next? The rest of us, the middle class. So don't buy into their games of trying to separate and pit us against each other. We're all citizens of the city. If the tax is raised on one, it's tax raised on us all. And that cost, especially on the commercial side, gets passed down to the consumer, right? Because if you're selling a strip mall or you're selling a building to house maybe a new retailer that's coming into the area, they're going to pay increased taxes on buying that real estate. And guess who pays the brunt of that? You. All right, so vote no on Measure E. E for extreme pain. Now, let's talk about the state of California and Prop 13. State of California, Prop 13, there's a ballot that's measured coming down from the state that's very innocuously worded as raising money for schools, roads, right? What it's basically doing is it's taking all commercial real estate out of Prop 13, and they can just raise the tax based on the value of that commercial real estate as it rises due to current market value. There will be no restrictions, which means the cost of buildings for commercial and retail space is going to go through the roof, and that cost gets passed on onto the consumer. And what does the state usually do? They go, well, the people said, yeah, vote yes on this and move this out of Prop 13 on the commercial side, so there must be a will from the people for us to remove residential property from Prop 13 as well. And you know that's what's coming next. So we have to hold our ground. It may not seem that it's going to affect you directly, but it always affects you directly when any time taxes are raised in the economy, because the money comes out of our economy and goes to the government and gets out of the flow of commerce, right? It gets out of the flow of capitalism and the free market. It goes out and it goes to the government, and it's wasted money. We all know what they've done with our tax dollars for roads. I don't see any of the roads any cleaner or bridges being fixed. So that's it. I'm off my soapbox. Thank you for joining me today. Look out for those measures as they hit the ballot. I will be talking about them more as we get closer to election. And God bless you. God bless your family. God bless the state of California and all the people that work so hard to make it great. And God bless the United States of America. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you next week, and I am out. All right, thank you guys for joining me live. I appreciate you hanging in there with me as I muddled through my sound issues. As I looked up on my screen, I was like, oh, there's a plus button next to the built-in microphone. Maybe if I push that, it'll go on. And lo and behold, boom, it was on. So next week will be a lot smoother. I hope you're enjoying the set. This wonderful set that I have behind me, the books. I look like I'm broadcasting out of a library. I think it looks pretty classy. Let me know if you're enjoying that, and I appreciate it. Share it. Tell your friends. I'm going to try to broadcast live every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. That's 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, and if that changes due to holidays or you know, things of that nature, I'll try to let you know the time changes. So I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me and joining me on the Real Estate Connection radio live podcast and radio show. And you can hear the program edited and produced on KFAX 1100, 8 a.m. Saturday mornings, or on iHeartRadio KFAX, the radio station on iHeartRadios. And I'm trying to get this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. That's it. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Let me figure, how do I end this thing? Oh, there it is. All right. I'll see you guys later. Bye.